There you go. Live with the Jacksons.
So cheesy, too.
What? MC, let's talk, guys. We're talking about to be or not to be divorced.
Yeah. I'm sorry. That was such a cheesy opening. I'm sorry.
You got better? You could do better?
No, we're gonna rock with it. Just divorce in general. I know a lot of people. There you go. I know a lot of people who are married that I spoke to. Once I got married, one of the main things that they spoke on was not even mentioning the word. Like they made it like a taboo word or a word to where it's like, we won't even bring it up. We won't even say it in our house, in our presence or whatever, just because it's almost like speaking it into existence or, saying something and it manifesting. You know what I mean? So they always said, like, when it comes to divorce or whatever, just like, don't say it. You know what I mean? Like, just keep that out of your marriage as best you can without even speaking on it. You know what I mean? So I personally try to adopt that thought process and say, you know what? They're right. Like, I don't even want to speak on divorce. Because I used to play with it when we first got married. What up, Nate? I used to speak on it when I first got married, like just playfully. Like we would do stuff like, I don't know, like she's a Cowboys fan, she's a Knicks fan, everything that I don't care for, being a Phillies fan. Yeah, New York and Dallas. I don't know how Dallas came into play, but you're a fan of all those teams, and when I would speak it out loud, whatever.
Yankees, baby.
Whatever. One of the things I would say is, like I'm getting divorced. Like she don't like the teams I like. I'm getting divorced, and I was just playing with it. I mean, I know I wasn't really gonna divorce my wife, but even in playing with it, like people was like, just don't even like put that in your marriage. Don't even like let that be an overcast of your marriage. So I even stopped speaking about it in that regard. Like I won't even play with the word. I try to treat it like something that's not even supposed to be spoken on, because I don't want that manifest. You know what I mean? Like, so that's how I feel about it. Like it's for me, it's a no go. I told you personally, like I'm only doing this one time.
I mean, I think we both told each other the same thing at the same time. Like, yeah, that's not even an option.
So it's a one and done.
You gonna be miserable forever or happy forever. You pick it, but it's gonna be forever. Forever.
Right. I just never. No, she's not smart, Nate. That doesn't make her smart. That's something that makes her lose points. And in week 7 and week 16, I think, right, y'all gonna be on suicide watch. I think that's when we play y'all. I'm sorry. He's a Cowboys fan too. I forgot all about it.
You sound like you need help.
I don't need help. I'm an Eagles fan. We're good. I'm just saying, like, those weeks, yeah, whatever.
Did y'all win the Super Bowl?
Not the year that passed.
No, I'm just saying, did y'all win?
Not the year that passed.
That's not the champions is right now. Who won?
Patriots.
Oh, okay.
A team that we beat. But whatever.
But who won the Super Bowl?
The Patriots.
Oh, all right.
What they got to do with the Cowboys?
Because they the champions right now, and not the Eagles.
And not the Cowboys.
All right, I'm okay with that. You're the one who are champions, Eagles.
I didn't even say champions.
Rah rah.
I never said champions one time.
All right.
See, all reasons why I normally would say divorce. However, I'm trying to remove that from my vocabulary. I don't know. It's one of them things to where, hey Jen, what up? It's one of them things where, if you put it out there to where it can be, like it can be a possibility, I think that you have a better chance of actually getting to that point of it actually happening to you.
I'm moving it this way because it's like, there we go.
That work out for you?
Yeah, no, it looks like, we having couch talk. I don't know.
October 20th, I'll be in Texas. Y'all don't have a QB. We do have a QB, as long as he stay healthy. Whatever. If you want to have sports talk, we'll have sports talk on another time. No, like I'll still roll with Wentz over whoever y'all got. But yeah. See, I'm losing my thought. If it's one of them things to where like if divorce is an option, then chances are it's going to be the end result or whatever, and that's how I personally feel. So, I try to not even make it an option. And just more so focus on fixing whatever is in front of me to where that end result of divorce isn't even a part of my thought process. You know what I mean? Because again, with me, I can go to the finale immediately. Like that's just the way my brain works. To where if I'm going through something, I can get right to the end result and say, all right, I'm out of here. You know what I mean? And in marriage, I don't think you really can move like that because it's counterproductive. Like if you're just thinking about, all right, I'm out of here.
Thanks, Nate. And that's my boy. So let me just chime in for a second, though. I'm gonna play devil's.
Hey, how you doing? I'm saying something to the
give
people.
Me a second.
She does hair. She's really, really good at doing hair.
Okay.
I'm just.
Hi. So you made me lose my thought.
Sorry. You said you wanted to chime in about divorce.
Oh, okay. So like, I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a second, right? So
Teresa, what up?
Divorce is you chose divorce isn't an option.
Correct.
I'm gonna just say divorce is an option right now, right? Just devil's advocate. I don't believe that. I agree with my husband. Divorce isn't an option. I would make him miserable to death, do us part, if need be. But luckily enough, we're happy, so we're good, right?
Depends on what you say next.
But just to play devil's advocate, so this could get interesting. Divorce can be an option. There can be several reasons why divorce can be an option. A lot of people go into situations not fully committed, right? And so when you get to the point where you found a situation or something came up and bam, what?
Nate, you said the only D word that's an option is death. Because it's still death do us part, and I agree.
Agree. But you know what I mean? Like a lot of people do not agree that to death do us part. Like, oh, you messed up, bye. You know what I mean? Like there's no unconditional love there. You know what I mean? Like most people say the only unconditional love is between a mother and their child. Not even a father and their child, a mother and their child.
Jacked up, but gotcha.
True story,
I got
though.
you.
You know what I mean? Like, because, you know what I mean? A mother will see her child to death to protect her child. Some father, yeah, most mothers.
Gotcha.
Most good mothers.
Shout out to the fathers out there.
But yeah, so I just think, like, there can be situations that are unforgivable. Like, some things are unforgivable. And like, previously, like in past relationships, like, I'm good for detaching. Mm-hmm. Like if you do me wrong, it's like, all right, I'm gonna try to forgive you because
thanks, Teresa.
It's the right thing to do. But I can't forget. And the fact that I can't forget, it doesn't allow me to fully heal and move forward. So instead of me moving forward, I'm mentally now building blocks and pushing you further and further away. And not only just pushing you further and further away, pushing you to the point in my brain and my heart mentally so that it don't hurt to let you go. I don't need you anymore. My heart doesn't want you anymore. I don't yearn for you sexually. I don't want nothing to do with you. And it would be like me walking away, like me and a friend on the street, or me and somebody on the street, not even a friend, don't know, a stranger on the street. And I see him, bam.
Teresa said, I don't agree with staying together if things can't be resolved and or cheating. And or y'all just end up not tolerating one another. People grow apart. I agree. I agree on the growing apart part especially.
I, I I agree to a certain extent.
Growing apart to me, I don't want to cut you off. Growing apart to me happens
Peace
when
within.
when one or either both parties are acknowledging each other's growth separately. Because growing happens regardless. You know what I mean? And I think it takes effort to make sure that you grow in alignment. You know what I mean? Because you can easily grow apart.
Or not even just growing together. Somebody could be growing, and then, bam, you stop growing or I stop growing. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm still going.
You got questions? Hold up. Nate said, okay, I take that back. Ain't no cheating on me. Not a forgettable. Okay, so hold up. Not to put anything in the air, but just saying if your wife cheated on you, you really done with that, Nate? I need an answer on that. Andre, what up? Andre said, what about health reasons? Example, mental health. Good question. Is that a reason for divorce? I think you want to get it?
I could get it. You could get it after me.
Go ahead.
I think with mental health, it's a very sensitive subject, and I think one has to be willing to make a full commitment to being unconditionally there, like whether good or bad, because that's not something that goes away. That's not something that you can change. That's something that can be maintained. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it can't be. And so in those moments, your spouse or your significant other has to learn how to be able to function in that, in that space to where they don't feel offended and you're not offended, and you're allowed to grow or get better in your situation.
Okay. I mean, just knowing a little bit about mental health or whatever, it's like regular health to where it has to be worked on or whatever. And it's one of them things to where, like you said, it never technically goes away. Depression and everything else, you have roller coaster moments. You have highs, you have lows or whatever. And when you have a spouse, it's important for them to be able to, I guess, navigate those waters, your waters, in both settings or whatever. They have to know, okay, this is a down moment for him or her. This is how I need to be there for him. Mm-hmm. This is a high moment, so forth and so on. If they can't find placement in those moments of you being down, depressed, or whatever the case is, I think that eventually it could be detrimental to a marriage. It could be something to where you guys not even grow apart, but that person doesn't even know how to function around you, to where it might be frustrating for them. It might be something they can't handle themselves. You know what I mean? And they might just retreat or back off or run just because they don't know how to help someone that they love. You know what I mean? And in those moments, they just might just do away with everything. I don't think it's really grounds for divorce. I think it's worth fighting for, me personally. Being someone who's had, mental health issues or whatever, I think that as long as you got somebody willing to fight and work with you in those moments, and you're willing to work with them, because you kind of got to realize that you're going through certain things as well. You know what I mean? And they might not know how to operate around you in those moments. So you kind of almost got to give them guidelines, because, one of my biggest things is hoping that my wife can read my brain, and she can't. You know what I mean? So allowing her to actually have a chance in being there for me by giving her little tidbits. Okay, when I'm in this mood or when I'm going through this, I need this or I need that, or I don't know what I need, babe, but just be there for me. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even got to say nothing to me. Just be in my presence or whatever. And that might be enough for me to figure out what I need to figure out.
Balance.
Right. And, as my wife, all I need from her is the effort to actually do it. You know what I mean? So if she's willing to go through that, I think is worth fighting for. And divorce really shouldn't be on the table. But if that person is not capable or ready to take on that responsibility, cut your losses.
It's definitely a commitment on both sides.
Right.
Like it has to be an equal commitment on both sides. It can't be one sided. It has like even recommend don't read Nate's comment yet.
I'm sorry.
But like I think like even going to counseling together, you may need your sessions by yourself, but she or he may need their, the other person that doesn't have the mental health issues may need counseling by themselves just to learn how to deal with the situation, and y'all gonna need counseling together. So like it's a all around commitment, time, going and seeking different therapies and all that different stuff. I mean, vacations, just doing stuff to keep you. Somebody said it earlier, being at peace.
Right,
being at
Teresa,
peace with yourself, being at peace with each other. I mean, I tell my husband all the time, like, energy is everything. Like, I know you going through something because I can feel it. Doesn't necessarily mean you want to tell me right now, but I know you're going through something. Now, whether you choose to acknowledge it, which a lot of times he doesn't, but I notice it, I acknowledge it, and all right, it's nothing. I move on because if I harp on it, it may trigger something else, right? And so it's a fine line. You just have to learn balance between both parties.
What did Nate say? Because I can't see her anymore.
Nate said he's done. He could never look at her the same. She's been rearranged inside by someone else. No.
Well, hold up, Nate. I mean, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, because I think the mental images that men will develop in those moments of trying to even reconcile and be there for someone who cheated on them, it's hard for us to get past the mental thoughts of no, she did this with this nigga. You know what I mean? So I get it, but I'm just I guess playing devil's advocate because, y'all been together as long as I've known y'all. You know what I mean? So like I'm saying that to say like, yo, she cheat one time and you done. You know what I mean? Like you really gonna walk away. To me that's a tough decision.
That is also a tough thing to put in. I don't know how long have you guys been together, Nate?
I can't even, but I know it's a long time.
No, I'm asking him.
No, I got you. I'm just throwing it out there. I know it's a long time.
But I'm just saying, like, let's say for example, let's use my parents for example. 30 years of marriage. You know what I mean? Like, you don't just walk away from that. I mean, as some people can, some people do.
And that's kind of what I'm asking.
I've seen people I'm close with walk away from 20-year marriages. I think one was like 18 years, another one was 20 years, and they both was going through at the same time, So for me, it was just like, oh my goodness, it's all around me, right. At one point. But they both walked away. It wasn't just the cheating. They could get past the cheating. It's what comes with the cheating. It's the extra stuff. I'm not saying no names.
All right, go ahead. I'm just making sure.
But it's you wasn't there for me, or you know what I mean. Like it's the emotional aspect. It's more than just the cheating. I think ultimately the cheating may spark up some other stuff, but it will definitely not be the end all be all reason why it failed.
I agree, Teresa. I think it's a very heavy topic just based off of like, I think of divorce like what Nate said, which is death. Like I think of it as it's the finale, it's the end. You know what I mean? It's so finite. It's like, you get married or whatever, and at the time, normally all you see is like the bliss, the love, and the life we're gonna live together. So you're stuck in those moments, and not realizing that, hey, if I don't water this plant, if I don't work towards this every single day, there's a possible chance, like a plant, this thing's gonna die. You know what I mean? Like, and it's one of them things I think to where like it can happen so easily without us even realizing it if we are, I guess, not being mindful of what's going on with our partner, what's going on with us internally, and just being at peace with each other and learning to work with each other, everything else. I was about to ask you what would be like, I guess, deal breakers for you because you were speaking on deal breakers as a girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like, so you being a wife now, what would be deal breakers? So it's like, because you said you were speaking from a.
You would die.
Wait, what? I didn't even get the question though. What?
Oh.
Wait, what? You would kill me?
Yeah.
I'm. What I'm saying.
Like death do its part.
No, what I'm saying is you spoke from the devil's advocate standpoint of okay, there are reasons why divorce might be healthy or whatever.
Right.
So what I'm saying is what would be a reason for you personally that would say okay, divorce
is justifiable.
Right. He said since 2006, by the way.
Yeah. Let me think about that.
Okay.
But let me touch on something else that you used to say to me, and it's in earlier videos, and we went back and forth, and it was like it's an everyday thing. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna cheat on you.
Oh Lord!
Look.
Come on.
What do you mean? Like,
go ahead.
Let me finish.
Because you're gonna spin this. I know.
I'm not gonna spin it.
Go
I'm gonna agree with you. I understand it now. Hey,
I'm listening because I want to know what made you. I want to know what made you understand this. Go ahead, I'm listening.
I understand it now. Like it is an everyday. I know you don't mean it from the aspect. So basically, what he's saying, like, I'm not going to cheat on you. No, can you say it? Because I'm gonna mess it up.
I basically said when it comes to cheating, the goal is to never cheat. The way in getting to that goal is to take it day by day. It's way easier to say, hey, look, I'm never going to cheat on you. And it possibly happening because I'm not being aware of how it's a day by day task or whatever. So as opposed to saying, hey, I'm never going to cheat, how about I say I'm not going to cheat and every single day I plan on not cheating. I work on not cheating and I don't cheat. If I can do that every single day, then I fulfill the ultimate goal, which would be to never cheat on my wife. That's what I said.
Okay, and so my perspective to that back then was like, bro, that sounds real sketchy, right? Like, it sounded to me like every day you wake up trying not to cheat, but if by chance I do, here we go, right? Like, we're gonna have to address it when it get there, right? So what I understand now about it is the other aspect.
So
I guess
Teresa
from
said,
what
oh, she feels that. That was love right there. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. And so, I understand from the aspect of just being married, just period. Just it's an everyday process. Like,
yes.
You wake up and the sun could be green and it's like the world's about to end. And then, you know what I mean? Like, you could say something and it's like, oh, the sun is yellow again. Like, birds is chirping and life is great again.
Mm-hmm.
But it could be completely different. But, by midday, and then it's like, all right, we just conquered the day. We about to go to bed. We talking to each other. We happy. You know what I mean? We smiling. All right, good night, babe. Love you.
That's what I guess that's what I was ultimately saying. Like, the goal of not cheating is a living, breathing thing because it's relationship based, and relationships are living and breathing things. You know what I mean? Like, to where, again, I spoke on the growing apart thing that Teresa spoke on. Like, you're dealing with people. People are alive. People live and breathe.
You're right, Teresa.
You put two people together, that doesn't fall away. Like, that's the same thing applies. Everything lives and breathes. So when it comes to cheating, when it comes to forget cheating, when it comes to just having peace in the household, when it comes to just living together and learning how to function around each other or whatever, you can't get stale in the idea of, okay, I know how we live together on year one, and this is how we function now. Not realizing that, okay, in year five,
It's
different
not
needs
going
come
to
up.
function
Yeah,
the
like
same way.
it's exactly everything's
Right.
going to change. You know what I mean? So you have to be adaptable. You have to be willing to say, you know what, all right, that might have worked then, but let me keep on going back to the drawing board and figuring out how to keep on making this work going forward. And that's kind of what I was speaking on with the cheating thing. Read Nate's comment.
So him and his wife been together since 2006.
Dope.
So he feels that women usually cheat emotionally. At that point, I've lost her, and if not, then she had a whore moment. And I'm not cool with that either. Um,
Dang, bro.
um,
Gee.
everybody's entitled to a whore moment. I guess I don't
No,
know.
they ain't. No, they ain't. I'm not co-signing that. No, no. If anybody had a horror moment, they should have had it before
Before the
marriage.
marriage.
You know what I mean? Like if you already in the marriage, then f your horror moment because you lost your opportunity. That's to me, that's the thought process. I'm not saying that everybody didn't have a moment of where they were just loosing out here, whatever. You know what I mean? But do that before you say I do. Don't do that after the fact. You know what I
But
mean? Don't try to get your Stella got a groove back moments. Oh, let me go out here and see what I still can do. No, my G.
but the point of the matter is, nobody's perfect.
Correct. I agree.
Nobody's
I'm
perfect.
just not co-signing that everybody
I,
has hormones.
I'm
That's the only thing I'm not.
I'm no, I'm just playing.
Okay.
But you know what I mean? Like nobody's perfect. Somebody's always going to do something that just doesn't make sense. That I'm not going to agree with you on. You're not going to agree. You know what I mean? Like we have plenty of moments where we're like, all right, agree to disagree. You know what I mean? Because we just can't get on each other's wavelength about certain things until something triggers. Like in that moment a second ago, like something triggered was like, all right, that makes sense, and vice versa. You know what I mean? But nobody's perfect, so you know what I mean. That's what unconditional love is. You admit they did wrong, you forgive them, you move forward, you learn from whatever mistake that is because some people say you contribute to the situation that happened and
Shout out to Nate. No horror moments after he walked in the house. He touched on something else I want to touch on, but real quick, let me just ask you. I cheat on you. You walk away. I know you told me I'll die. What I'm saying, it's hypothetical. What I'm saying is, you walk away. That your deal breaker? Oh, I'm out of here.
I'm not going to say I would walk away. I would be upset. I'd be
Sure.
heartbroken. I would, you know what I mean? Like it's that feeling like you just lost your parents.
Right,
You know
because
what
the
I
trust
mean?
and stuff is
Right.
in the street. Right.
Your heart is no longer in your chest. You know what I mean? Like, but I would need counseling to get through that. I couldn't do that on my own. I can admit for my own self that somebody, a professional, would have to help me to a forgiving point with him because it's just I just can't um I just can't do it. I'm not gonna say I can't do it. I have not been able to do it in any relationships that I have been cheating on. Gotcha. I have been the one who has left.
Backed up. Teresa actually agreed with you with the nobody's perfect part, and I guess that's why I was asking because it's like one of them things to where you say nobody's perfect. Okay, so come to find out your husband's not perfect and he cheats. Like, does that still apply? All right, well, nobody's perfect. Let me figure out how to
say no.
But like, let me figure out how to make this still work because he's not perfect and he made a mistake or whatever. Can I get past this? Which you answered with the therapy and everything else, but I guess that was the question.
No, I'm just saying, like, it go both ways. Like, would you be able to, just like with Nate, like, would you be able to forgive it? The thing is, women are always put at a, like, they're back against the wall because they're easily to forgive because of the potential or the they knew how you were when you were good.
Teresa said just bye.
You know what I mean? Like, but you know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't. Men are the least forgiving.
Agreed.
Like when a
Agreed.
female cheats.
And I kind of just spoke on why, but I agree. It's it's one of them things to where, all right, first you feel betrayed, everything that I guess you would feel, like the guy feels all that stuff, right? But it's even, I think, in working past those moments, it's like, let's say, all right, I do forgive you, let's say, and try to work through it, whatever, and then we get to a moment where we're trying to be intimate, whatever. Anything that you do, you could be doing what I'm used to you doing already, but anything that you do, it's going to be a mental block in my head saying she did this with this nigga. You know what I mean? Like all this whatever, nasty, whatever, all the stuff she did with him, whatever, and he did all this stuff there. Like those images alone can haunt.
First off, you don't ask those questions. You don't.
No.
You don't. The
details,
right?
No. I'm not saying the guy ask anything. It's the images that you put in your own head.
But I would have those same images.
I'm sure. I'm just saying, like, it's not that, like, I will come to you and say, oh, well, did he do this? No. It's literally.
Some people do.
Well, if you ask questions like that, you're looking to get hurt. But it's literally just the fact that, if any type of sexual whatever happens with you and your wife, those images are burned in your skull regardless. You know what I mean? And trying to get past those thoughts alone is a war and a fight in itself. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Like I would like to think that I'm strong enough to work through it. But Jesus, that would be hard because me thinking of how same deal. Me thinking of how I would have been before marriage. Nah, I'm cool. You know what I mean? I'm off it, whatever. But marriage is one of the things to where it's like, don't be dumb. You don't have to be dumb, but you have to be committed. You know what I mean? So you don't have to accept things that you don't deserve, but that does not mean that you can just cut and run just because things get rough. You know what I mean? So it's a fine line, and it's yeah, exactly. Oh, you do that with that nigga. That's the feeling. You know what I mean? Like that you did that, like all that fly stuff you doing to me right now. You did it to that nigga. Like that's the feeling or whatever. So it's. It's hard to just accept that and say, you know what, all right, I can work it out. Because that image is burned in your brain.
Agreed, Teresa. You have to ask. Like, the number one question, why did you do it? Like, like, how did you get to this point? You know what I mean? How did you get to this point?
For girls and guys, it's different. Like what Nate said, with a lot of women, it's emotional. You know what I mean? So it could be
not necessarily.
Wait, I said a lot. I didn't say all. But like just in the sense of normally with women, they don't cheat in the sense of how men cheat. At least back in the day. Women nowadays, they lit. At least back in the day, it was more so the woman's cheating. She's attached to this guy in a sense. You know what I mean? Like she touching my hand, woman. Like he I don't know. He compliments her every day. All types of fly. He's almost like a second boyfriend already. You know what I mean? And with guys, no, she just had a nice body. She just had a nice body, and I wanted to see what was up. You know what I mean? It's no big attachment to. I don't even like the girl. She just got a nice body. I just want to see how it jiggle. You know what I mean? Like literally, it could be that minute to a guy. You know what I mean? Like we're not like designed to have all that extra emotional. Oh, I really like this side chick. No, I just want to smash. Just to get it, you know what I mean? Just to see what it was, and I'm cool off it. You know what I mean? After I do it, I'm cool.
And then you got AIDS.
If you don't protect yourself, Jesus, like, why you gotta have AIDS? But I'm just saying, like, so it's different.
But look, that's a deal breaker.
AIDS, I'm sure. You talking about AIDS?
That's a deal breaker.
Yes, because somebody
you just
died.
brought me death.
Right.
Like.
Right. Correct. And it was not to change subject, it was a comment that Nate, I saw earlier, you spoke on another deal breaker, which was abuse, domestic violence. I'll say this, because I grew up in a household with domestic violence. I've already had videos, unsaid videos of my mom speaking on being abused or whatever. What I will say about that, no woman or man deserves to be abused or whatever. And for the most part, when it comes to being abused, a lot of people think that, first of all, it's their fault. The ones that's getting hit, they think it's their fault because they're made to believe it. But they also don't realize that they need to get up out of that situation because it's dangerous. I spoke on this before, I'll say it again. the situation is only productive if that person, the person that's doing all the hitting and all that stuff, realizes that one, they have a problem, and two, they're actively working on fixing that problem, going to therapy or whatever the case is. Like not just basically saying, "Oh, I'll never hit you again," because that "Oh, I'll never hit you again," they almost always gonna hit you again, and it's probably gonna be worse than the time before. So if they're actively, and you really see or feel that they're actively working on not being that person that abused you, whatever, maybe you can stop a divorce. Maybe it's worth fighting for, whatever. But that person has to be fighting. The person who's doing the hitting has to be fighting to make themselves a better person and not be the person that's abusing you. If not, I agree with you 100%, Nate, and you should get up out of there. F divorce. You need to get up out of there because a lot of times death is around the corner. Like literally, it only progresses when it comes to violence. Like it could start off as just getting smacked in the face, and the next time he's punching you in the face, and the next time he's strangling you, and the next time you're dead. You know what I mean? Like it's a progression type of thing. So I agree 100%. You know what I mean? It's get up out of there just to save you, your kids, whoever, his life. You need to get up out of there. So I wanted to speak on that because I did see that comment earlier.
So you asked me what would be a deal breaker for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm smart, and I think.
I'm sorry. Keep this. Keep that thought. Teresa said cheating is overrated. Let's establish that. It's so 1990s. Teenagers cheat. That would be dope if people really thought like that. That would be dope. It just
everybody cheat. Like people. Oh, sidebar. Women be thinking that I'm gonna date an older man because he's more mature. No, that nigga cheating too. Like it don't. Men cheat. Just I'm not gonna say all. Not all men.
No, but I get what you're saying. Like it's people cheat.
People cheat.
People cheat.
Agree. People cheat because they want to. Period. Mm-hmm. You just don't fall on.
Or because they can.
Or because they can. That right there is key, because the moment you allow it the first time, which is why I would need God and a professional to help me through it, because I can't see past the forgiving the first time and thinking that that's the last. You know what I mean? And so now I have to deal with a lifetime of dealing with him cheating, or me walking out the door. You know what I mean? Like that's my thought process on it. But you know what I mean? Women really, never mind. I can't.
No, let's hear that. That sounded like that was juicy. Women really what?
Women be forgiven for no reason.
I won't say for no reason, but women are more forgiving.
They're
than
more
guys are.
okay, not for no reason, but like
they're more forgiving than guys.
They're more forgiving, and like I said before, like earlier, like I just don't be understanding us sometimes. Like you be thinking you be doing the right thing, like I'm gonna forgive him for the family. I need him. Like no, you need yourself. Like you need to be happy. You need to make you happy. Sometimes you need to put you first. And people get so caught up in their relationship, they forget who they are as an individual. And it's hard for them to see themselves without this person. It's hard for them to see what their tomorrow is going to be like, and that for some scares people. And
word, Teresa, know your worth.
Exactly, know your worth. Like I think that stems from a lot of other topics that we talk about: daddy issues, consistency, fear of losing. Losing out on what they have to offer. Let's say this person is cheating on you, but in 5 years he's going to be making $1 million. The potential of I want to be a part of his growth because I helped him get there.
Yes, let me put myself through turmoil.
Let me deal with all of this because I know in the end, the lifestyle that is going to provide is worth it. I mean,
and it's almost like you feel like you earned it. Hey, he put me through all this. I deserve the reward that comes at the end of it. You know what I mean? Which is an ill way of putting it because all you're doing is putting yourself through all types of drama. But I get that too. I ain't want
Right.
to kill your point with the deal breaker thing. I ain't mean that. You was talking on deal breakers because I actually about deal breaker.
Yeah, so a deal breaker for me is like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm very ambitious and like just taking my good qualities
Mm-hmm.
and making them small. That's a deal breaker for me because you're trying to diminish the good parts of me.
Give me an
So it's
example.
kind of like emotional abuse, right?
So, like an example.
Or mental abuse, whatever you want to call it. An example would be like, let's say, okay, I was dating this guy one time, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was finishing up my MBA, and I had
Humble brag. Okay.
four, I had 4 classes left, and he just would not let me. Like, I would start my classes, and then it would be, oh, you don't have time for me. Oh, I want to do this.
Okay.
Oh, you know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
all right, all right,
Kind of like stunting your
dude,
growth.
I'm trying to tell you, like, this is important to me. And so it's not respecting what's important to each other to help them get to the next level. Like, that for me is a deal breaker. That for me is a turn off. And so, like, if you don't grow, that's a turn off. If I'm not growing and you okay with me not growing, that's a turn off.
Right.
Like, I just feel like for you to be stagnant in your life is a disservice to you and everyone around you. And so for me, like, I have to be constantly growing and constantly moving. And so for somebody to hinder that would be a deal breaker for me.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Dag, even in marriage, so you're like, yo, you starting my growth. I'm out of this, John. Like, you just.
No, I'm gonna help you get to whatever level you need to get
No,
to, so you
no,
can see
no.
my
Just
where I
speaking.
need to go
No,
is
just
on a
speaking.
different
Just
level.
speaking from you, like, because this is about you. It's not about, oh, let me help this person get on my level. Because to me, that can become a ball and chain thing.
Agree.
I've been through that type of relationship.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? So forget everybody else around you. Just when it comes to deal breakers for you, that's what you're saying. Like, that's something. Okay, you stopping my growth. You're making me stagnant because I got to keep on, I guess, looking back or focusing on you, or you feel inadequate if I don't do such a thing. That's something that you can't tolerate for your own personal peace, your own personal growth.
Right.
Okay, makes sense.
Right. So it's one being me communicating the fact that, all right, what you're doing right here in this moment is hindering me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and letting that be known and speaking that piece with you and coming to some type of agreement that would help us both accomplish whatever we're trying to accomplish. Because I know that you genuinely won't try to hinder me just off the strength.
Yeah.
But if I tell you you're hindering me, you're going to find another way. Well,
That would be my goal.
most good husbands
That would be my
would
goal.
try to find another way. But if you're a detached husband, you're like, whatever, dude, I ain't hindering you. You full of it. You know what I mean? Like, you find an excuse for why her feelings aren't valid.
Okay. I never thought of another deal breaker besides the cheating thing. Just like off bat, I don't even know if I can think of another deal breaker. I guess.
Disrespect is one of yours.
Yeah, disrespect is from anybody. Like, disrespect.
No,
just
I mean, like if your woman was out there in the street, if I was out there in the streets acting like I was single, that's a deal breaker for you, right?
Yeah, yeah. But to me, that I put that so close to cheating. You know what I mean? But yes. That I think now as I grow, whatever I spoke on mental health or whatever, that's becoming more and more of a deal breaker in the sense of, I need certain things to keep my mental peace. You know what I mean? Like, is mad stuff going on in my brain at any one point in time or whatever. So I got to take certain precautions and steps to make sure that I'm okay or whatever. And if my wife doesn't help me in those moments, not to say that she has to know exactly what to do, but if she's a hindrance to it, or someone who makes it to the point where I can't even find my own peace mentally or whatever, that might be something that to where it's like, I got to get away from my own sanity. And I'm only saying that because of past relationships. I think that's what it ended up being. It ended up being, okay, it's either me or her. Like, I got to get out of here before I self-destruct. So I'm going to push her away so I can actually survive whatever I'm going through. Because me trying to hold on to her. What?
I have a question from that.
Mm-hmm.
What if you have already gotten to the point of self-destruct?
That's bad.
I know that's bad, but then some people hold on to what destroyed them
Longer than they should.
No, in that moment, thinking that they will help them through. Like, you got me to this low point. You're gonna get me out.
I think that's something that is kind of like entangled with self-awareness. I think at some point you gotta sit back and remove yourself from yourself and see what's around you and say, okay, like, what are the feeding factors of the negative stuff in my life, and what's the feeding factors of positivity or whatever, and you got to decipher what's what. You know what I mean? Like, for me, again, the relationship that I was in, I realized that a lot of the negative and just the pain and anguish or whatever that I was going through was strictly coming from a source. That person was that source or whatever. And me trying to deal with whatever I was going through mentally with other stuff, and me trying to focus on that source, one of them had to go because I wouldn't have survived it. You know what I mean? So for me, it was let me get away from that. I think it just comes with self-awareness. Like, you got to really be honest with yourself, because you could love a person to death and you'll lie to yourself because you love that person. Oh, they're going to be there. It's not them. It's me. Da, da, da. You'll do all that just because you love them and you don't want to see them with somebody else. You don't want to leave them, whatever the case is. But I think at some point you got to be honest with yourself and say, you know what? No, this person is dangerous because they're a danger to me. You know what I mean? So you got to get away from those type of people. I mean, they could be family. They ain't even got to be your spouse. They could be family.
Story.
They could be anybody.
Yo, family deal breakers?
That's a deal breaker for me on the family side too.
No, I'm saying, like, it's family a deal breaker. Like, it's family.
You talking about like in-laws?
Yeah, like in-laws or your own family.
It can be, but if it is, to me, it's only because
you let them.
That person let them in the door. They can't be a deal breaker by themselves. They need to be accompanied by the person you're with. You know what I mean? If my wife lets them in the door to do whatever, say whatever, maneuver whatever, and manipulate whatever in my relationship, then yes, that'll be a deal breaker, because I'm not just now married to my wife. I'm married to the family and their thoughts of me and everything else. You know what I mean? But them alone, no, they're not a deal breaker, because if my wife is stopping them at the door to where it ain't even getting to me, it's out of sight, out of mind type of deal. You know what I mean? So for me, not a big deal breaker unless verbal abuse is another one. I actually put that with emotional and mental abuse. But yeah. So, I mean, it can be, like the family thing can be, but for me, not so much. All right, Teresa, shout out to you. Good night. It could be, but for me, no. And with my family, I'm not that family oriented, so I guess I would ask you the same question. Like, is that a deal breaker for you?
No, I don't know. I don't know about the like, I mean, I think I'm lucky. I get along with your family.
You get along with people.
Yeah, pretty much. So not necessarily for me. For the most part, I do get along with. I'm generally a good people person for the most part.
Right.
But I think family can be a deal breaker, because even though I may not choose to let this person in or that person in, some people just, misery loves company. You know what I mean? And just because you're just in arm's reach, you know what I mean? Like, they may just randomly cause dysfunction, and you not even realize it's causing a dysfunction until, shit hit the fan.
Right.
And so, you know what I mean? Like, you literally got people that just go around planting seeds, and they don't be good seeds. They, you know what I mean? Like, they could be good on the surface, but bad in the end. And so it's just like, all right, let me drop this little nugget here, drop this little nugget here, and then before you know it, the whole family at war, and you included.
I think if I look at it a different way, I think of it this way: in my absence, or in my wife's absence, I gotta be her armor against any and everybody that may speak down or badly about her, and vice versa. So if ever I'm not in your presence, I'm around my family, my friends, random people, whatever the case is, and they're speaking bad on my wife, I gotta protect that. I don't care what's going on between me and you at that point in time. I gotta protect you because, one, you're not there to protect yourself, but two, I don't want these negative thoughts to now influence me and now have me dictate my own marriage and relationship a different way than I would have if I didn't let that enter, or whatever the case is. So I got to be your armor in times to where you might not even know there's a war going on, and vice versa. You know what I mean? So that's just my thought on it. It kind of falls back to the whole, acting together even when you're apart type of deal. Like just being a stand-up person for your wife and or husband, in moments to where they're not even around you. Just my thought on it. We don't need to make this too long because it's been mad long. Any closing thoughts on divorce and all that fly stuff?
I think what's wrong with the world today is that they're so quick to everything's all peaches and cream when it's time to get married. You know what I mean? Let me show off my love and my happiness to the world and to the people around me, this perfect relationship. But nobody's willing to get down and dirty in the mud and fight for the same happiness that they signed up for to begin with. I think if more people did that, then there would be less divorce. I think if people honestly and genuinely got married for the right reason, then there would be no divorce. I just feel like to each his own. When, of course, that's always the spill, to each his own. But when you have two like-minded, dedicated people with the same goals in mind in regards to moving as one, growing as one, and getting to the end result is death. You know what I mean? Like, and just being happy with one another and being able to be there and experience everything good or bad about you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I think some people take it for granted. You know what I mean? Like, you wake up tomorrow and, you're gone. No warning. You know what I mean? Like, people take it for granted that, that love will always be there. Like, I could be mad today, or I'm going to hold this grudge for 2 years and he going to be there. Or, you know what I mean? Like, or they going to be there.
Yeah.
But it's not ultimately the case. It's definitely not guaranteed.
Right.
But when it's ripped away from you, now you the one stuck with that heavy burden. Instead of just saying, all right, let me be mature. Let me get to the root of whatever this is, and let me fix it. And there you go. Some people, which I don't understand. Some people get married, get divorced, get remarried. What? Why? Somebody tell me. Somebody who's done it. Please tell me. I've seen it so many times. It's just like, why?
Well, I can answer that only because of what a guy told me.
What?
The guy told me the first time he got married or whatever, he thought he knew what he wanted in marriage and a wife and everything else. It didn't work out. He got divorced. By that time, from what he learned from that first marriage and the second marriage, he knew what he needed and what he wanted in a wife, to where the person that he chose the second time was what he wanted and needed, as opposed to what he thought he wanted and needed.
No.
I'm just answering what he said.
No, you're thinking about the wrong thing.
I'm just saying what
I'm not talking about I got divorced from you and then married.
Oh, you're talking about remarrying the same person?
You know what I mean? I'm talking about getting divorced from you
And
and
remarrying
then
me?
remarry you.
Oh.
Like that for
Oh, all
me
right. Yeah, that's
is
crazy.
I don't understand
Oh,
that.
yeah. That, all right. Yeah. People do that too. Yeah,
Right.
that's bananas.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's bananas.
But yeah, definitely, Nate. Like you got to keep your problems off social media. Social media intensifies every situation, and it when you bring your stuff to social media, it's you're looking for attention. You're looking for somebody to validate your feelings, and ultimately, that's your hype man, right? Like that's your person in your corner. Oh, Joe Smo, John, Nate, Tim, Ron, and all these people. I got 300 likes, and all these people said I'm right. F you, da 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 da. Like, bruh, like, hold on.
Passionate.
I'm just saying, like, social media, people be killing me. Like I be seeing all kind of crap on social media, and I just like I don't even be on social media half the time. But when I do, it be like, this is depressing, guys. Like why are you on here arguing? Like, call them, pull up. I don't know.
Don't
Fix.
pull up.
I'm not saying pull up and
Right.
fight or anything.
Right.
I'm just saying pull up, fix face to face. Sometimes you need face to face interaction to resolve whatever it is. You need to feel my energy. I need to feel yours. You know what I mean? Like I need to see your tears. You need to see mine. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Something has to have not tears in a bad way. You know? Okay. But
in closing thoughts, by the way.
oh, that was closing.
Yeah, because that
that's
sparked
Nate.
up. Yeah, no, but that sparked up. He was about to go.
He said, and keep your problems on social media. Yeah. A lot of people have problems because of this. And closing, good night, my brother and sister.
Right. I'm just saying because you was about to start going. That's what I'm saying.
But that's like a whole nother video.
It is, and we'll touch on that. For me, my wife already touched on it. If anything, learn to decipher between a wedding and a marriage. I know a lot of people, they love the idea of the wedding. You know, oh, I get to say I do, I get to wear my dress, I get this ring, I get da 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 da, and they put so much effort into the wedding day. Oh, I got to do this, I got to plan this out, I got to da 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 da, and they do all that for the wedding, and then after the wedding's done, they lose sight of the fact that this is where the real planning comes in. This is where the real effort comes in. Now you're married. Now all the confetti stop falling, and now you're in the thick of it. You know what I mean? And this is when it really matters as opposed to that wedding day or whatever. Learn to decipher between those two and say I do to the marriage as opposed to just saying it in the wedding because it looks good or you want to show it off or whatever the case is. Besides that, divorce is something that should be avoided at all costs, but you know, to each his own. I will say, don't be a quitter though, and don't press the button prematurely. If you said I do, you know the vows that you took. Try to abide by them, live by them, and you know if that's
redo them
if you need to. And if you do happen to live by them and treat them as Bible, then maybe you can work through what you might think be your breaking point or whatever. You know, and if possible, divorce will be something that you never have to greet head on. So that's our closing thoughts on it. I'd like to thank everybody that participated tonight. It's our second live show. So we try to do this more frequently with the other stuff that we're doing. Like, share, comment. This won't hit YouTube, but YouTube channel Truthfully Speaking. Shout out to Nate, Teresa, Andre, everybody who just like tuned in even for a second. Appreciate y'all for watching. We'll get back to y'all shortly.
Yay.
Hold on, when they say 10-year renewal next year, I'll make sure y'all get y'all. Yeah, we better get our invite, my G. Yes, we need to be there. So shout out to you too, because 10 years is lit. You know what I mean? So that's dope. But yeah, thanks for watching. Whatever the case is, we will be back shortly with something else fly. If y'all have any ideas that we need to speak on, whatever, let us know. We'll do that too. All right. So we'll see y'all later.
One love.
Gosh, man.